So MINI has always been about a brand of misfits, a brand all about cool, about having fun, doesn't really care about what the industry thinks of itself. It's just out there for all out enjoyment. Now, I've never driven a MINI before, and I'm glad that this is the first one that I've ever tried, so I don't have any frame of reference, and I sure am happy that I did. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today I'll be reviewing this, the 2025 MINI Aceman Electric. So over the years, MINI really hasn't deviated from its original design from the Mini Cooper. I mean, all these years, they've just grown bigger and bigger. And this one right here, they're actually calling this a crossover SUV. From this front bulbous circular headlamps right here, you got the DRLs right around, you got projector headlamps inside. You got this nice round grille right here in the front. I mean, you definitely don't need any grills right here. This is just some sort of design to harken back traditions of old. Like I said, MINI really hasn't deviated far off from its original design. And since this is an electric, they still need to put in a grille so that they can actually call back to those older designs. I mean, you got these haunches right here on each side that hug the headlamps. You got cameras right there on top for the automatic driver assistance. Whenever I see MINIs on paper or on the internet, I don't really give it much thought, but in the metal, I kind of get it. I kind of get why there's a certain fan base out there who are obsessed with this particular look, and even some companies who mimic this particular look. Right here on the side of the MINI Aceman. I mean, I almost keep calling this a Mini Cooper because this is exactly what it is. It's a four-door electric Mini Cooper, and they can't really give the Mini Cooper that moniker because it's basically a three-door, including the hatch. You got those 19-inch alloy wheels on each side, classic MINI styling. You got minimal overhangs right there in the front, and in the back you got this black plastic cladding all around. I guess that's why you can actually call this a crossover SUV, because of those black plastic claddings and this nice classic looking MINI badge. If you're wondering where a lot of brands taking their inspiration from with this blacked out A-pillar and even a floating roof design, they took it from MINI. You got these roof rails on top, and again, 146 millimeters of ground clearance isn't that much, especially for a crossover SUV, but it's still pretty much more higher up and raised than your regular sedan or hatchback. You got these nice ventilated discs on each side, and even though this is an electric, you still get these classic pull-out doors right here. So it's not one of those electronic doors where you can definitely fail if the battery dies, so you still have a way to get in and out. You got these repeater signals on each side. I mean, guys, if you've seen a MINI, whatever MINI model that is, you're already familiar with whatever model that they release. But with the MINI Aceman, I think they definitely just put it up to 11, especially with these black plastic claddings right here. Definitely fits the bill, and I like it. Now we head on over to what I think is my favorite part of the MINI Aceman. It's the rear. Again, it harkens back to a lot of MINI heritage with all of their vehicles. You got these bulbous tail lamps right here. You got the Aceman badge, and of course this yellow S badge right here on the side, indicating what trim level it is. This is the SE variant, by the way, the only variant available in the Philippines. But I want to point out something and tell you why this is my favorite part of the vehicle. These tail lamps, and in connection, the headlamps as well. You can actually customize these tail lamps. Right now, we're set in the particular setting called the John Cooper Works settings, and it mimics the JCW Mini Cooper's rear tail lamps. You can always bring it back to the old classic Union Jack tail lamps. And of course, there is a third option right there as well, but I actually prefer this one right here instead of the Union Jack one, because it kind of has that classic JCW vibe that I always love in a hatchback such as this one. Do they call this a hatchback? Crossover SUV. And you know what? Whatever you call it, hot hatch, hatchback, crossover SUV, mini off-roader. No, it's not a mini off-roader, but yes, definitely looks really nice. You've got this huge spoiler up top, a kind of rounded out shark's fin antenna on the top as well. Now you don't get any power tailgate functions right here, but nothing unnecessary is installed in this variant, so I guess that's okay. I don't see any provisions to install any power tailgates anyway, but that's okay. But once you do open up the hatch, you get access to all this space inside, and you got a 12-volt socket right here in the side as well. Now, unfortunately, underneath, because of the battery, they have to fit in a battery on the inside. They weren't able to fit in a spare tire underneath, but you do get a tire repair kit. Now, as you can see, I was able to fit all my stuff inside, but if you need even more space or for longer items, you can fold these rear seats in a 60-40 split configuration, and the loading height isn't that high. I mean, probably for some people it might be, but again, if you have a heavy item like this, if you need to carry all your gold inside, it's going to be easy in the MINI Aceman. All right, so now we're inside the MINI Aceman Electric. Now, if MINI's trying to convince me that this is a crossover SUV because of the interior amenities and space, I think they got to do a better job. But you know what? If you try to change your perspective and see what the MINI Aceman really is, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with what you have inside here. Inside, you've got this circular screen right here, which doubles as both the infotainment screen and your gauge cluster. Classic MINI. I mean, old MINI cars actually has their gauge clusters right here in the middle. That's what it looks like. Right there, you got your speedometer, you got all your driving information right here. In this case, you've got your battery percentage, you got your power. You can even check how much regen you're getting out of this as you drive. It looks interesting. Now, one thing about this though, it is away from your line of sight, but thankfully MINI was able to mitigate that, fix that with this heads-up display right there in the middle. So you still have all your driving information right in front of you. It's just that you're not going to have to look right here for all that information, so no worries. Now, one thing about this screen though, this is an OLED screen. What does that mean? It means you've got this amazing resolution, you got this nice screen quality. One thing about OLED is OLED as compared to LCDs is that if you have a black section of the screen right there, the actual pixel doesn't actually light up. So if you have a black section of the screen, that's actually black. So the contrast in this thing is just amazing, especially in a car. This is the first time I've seen an OLED screen in a car, and it looks gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I like the circular theme of the user interface as well. This is MINI's newest user interface experience, and I gotta say, it's very intuitive. It's just that there are a couple of menus right here that seem to be hidden and dug deep into some other menu systems. But one good thing about that though is that that's going to be at the start. All you have to do is just you can actually register your profile information right there, and as soon as you drive in, click on your profile, user profile, driver user profile, your MINI ID. You'll have to install that on your phone, and then you can just drive on through. If anyone else borrows your car, tell them no. But if they do borrow your car, they're going to have to click on as guest right here, or else they'll have to use your own personal settings inside your MINI. Now, one thing about this this dashboard, the dashboard has this interesting textile pattern in there that just screams absolute fun. I mean, am I in the 80s? Am I in the 60s again? Because you've got this pattern right here. You got teal and orange together at last, and it looks great. I mean, and then at night, this screen right here, if you notice, it actually looks like it mimics the MINI badge, the MINI logo. And then in the back, you've got light beams on each side, so that it actually signifies the wings. So the MINI logo is right here on the dashboard. Attention to detail is just beyond comprehension. Are you wondering where the AC vent is for right here in the middle? It's right here underneath the screen, and it's blowing cold air right at you. You got your controls right here on each side. This is probably one of the most interesting parts of the MINI Aceman. It's the well, it's pretty much the center console of the MINI Aceman. It's one of the smallest and miniest center consoles I've seen, because here you'll see your shifter. It's basically just it's a knob, it's a switch, so you can select between drive. You can go to B mode, so you can actually increase your regen. and go to neutral and reverse. Once you hit reverse, it's going to activate this high resolution camera right here and activate all of your parking sensors all around to help you out with parking. Now remember, I told you there's no front facing camera right there in the front, but so there's no 360 right here. But the thing with Minis is that it has one of the best visibilities of the interior around. I mean, you can see the haunches right there on the tail lamp, so on the headlamp, so you know where that is. You can actually see you got this huge side mirrors here, so you can see the side, and even on the D pillars, you can actually see right there behind. Minis are actually very good when it comes to visibility, and this is definitely of no exception. You have this twisty switch right here. This is your power switch, right? So you don't get any power buttons, you got a power switch. As soon as it detects that your key is inside, all you gotta do is twist it and it turns itself on. Pretty nifty, pretty nice. It mimics the way how you actually turn on a key. You put in your key into your older Minis right there in the middle and start, and then you're off to rally against against bigger, larger, more faster cars. Now here on the side, this is the experience button. Experiences button, I'm sorry. The experiences button is the equivalent of drive modes. So you got many, many drive modes right here. You got trail, you got balanced, timeless, vivid, personal, green, core, and go-kart. I call that Homer Simpson mode, going woohoo and all that. But hey, the thing about that is that it changes the driving dynamics every time you switch between these driving modes. My favorite is green, because with green you get the most regen. You get the most regen out of your ride. It actually shows you how much kilometers that you've gained throughout your drive. So that's very reassuring for me these days. These days you want to get as much range as you can from a single charge or a single tank of fuel, and that's pretty nice. So you got all your systems, other buttons right here. You got your hazard button, your camera button, and then of course your volume knob, which is important, and a button for the adaptive cruise control and driver assistance. So there you have it. Let's go move over to the steering wheel. This is probably the one of the most interesting steering wheels that I've seen in quite a while. I thought that this is a 3-spoke steering wheel. Technically it is, but right there in the middle it seems to look like a belt. So the third spoke in the middle is actually a belt. It's not plastic, it's not polyurethane, it's a belt that makes you think that it's a 3-spoke, but in actuality it's a horizontal 2-spoke steering wheel. And you got very minimal controls in it as well. You got your volume and call controls right here on the side, and a simple cruise control button right here on the left side as well. Now you can always activate your advanced driver assistance system while you're here, but once you're driving, it's all set. It should be all set up and good to go. And you got power seats for both the passenger and the driver, and with memory settings as well, and lumbar support, and no, that's all. It doesn't have cooled and heated seats, but you do have heated steering, which I will turn off because it also adds up to the to draining off the range of the battery right here. Now let's talk about door cards. Another thing that's interesting about the door cards is its design. You still have the same teal fabric design right here for the door cards, but it seems to have this interesting design for the door handle. The door's opening handles right here at the bottom, as you can see. It's mounted pretty low, and it seems to be sculpted in a way that it's not going to be obtrusive to the driver, and at the same time the design of the door. So if you sit this way, the outboard armrest and this mini center armrest is just right for you, so as you drive. But you also have this Harman Kardon speaker system all around, and they sound fantastic. These Harman Kardon speaker systems and this small interior just is just something else. The acoustics inside of this car just helps you just enjoy your drive. Is the seat massaging me? So yeah, the seat is massaging me. I think, hold on. I thought that this button right here is just for the lumbar support, but apparently it moves up and down, forward and back automatically on its own, so it massages you as you drive. I probably wouldn't be suggesting that as you drive because you might fall asleep, but interesting. Now in the middle, this is more a lot more where Mini's design language follows through, because you have very minimal details right here in the middle. You have these cup holders, and you have this cubby hole inside, which is very small. Pretty much, it can't even fit my phone inside right there. Probably fits pens and a few items, and a wireless charger right there in front. You have a 12-volt socket right there, and some USB ports, 2 USB ports actually, and 2 more USB ports right here in the middle. And you got a black headliner. You don't get any panoramic sunroof, which is okay, which is definitely fine. But overall, the front cockpit of the Mini Aceman is very direct. It's very purpose-driven, if you ask me. Unlike a lot of the current slew of electric vehicles in the market, there's a certain sense of creativity on the inside that just inspires you to keep on driving. And I understand why Mini fans love Minis in general. It's because of these small, fine details that the brand gives its fans. And yeah, I might be turning into a Mini fan myself, if I could just raise my bank account, that is. Anyway, let's take a look at the second row seats and see what they have for a guy my size. All right, so inside the second row seats of the Mini Aceman here, I'm surprised with the amount of headroom that I have, despite the fact that this is not much of a high riding vehicle. You have this huge space for my head here, despite even if I sit up straight, still all good. And surprisingly, even with myself driving in my optimum driving position, laid back, slanted backwards as well, I still have a lot of room for my knees and my feet. Now this is supposed to be a 5-seater, hence the third headrest right there in the middle, but I really don't see 3 of myself sitting right here in the back, especially with that huge center tunnel and the cup holder actually breaking through on the on top of the second tunnel. They call this leather material, by the way, this is actually vegan leather, and they call this Vexin. This is proprietary material made by Mini. It's made of about a few percentage points of recycled material, but it's just vegan friendly, and I like how it looks. This looks like something that's going to last a few years as compared to real leather, and you got this contrast stitching all around, which is nice. All right, so we're now behind the wheel of the Mini Aceman. Let's just set it to my favorite setting right here so that we can get up to speed. Yeah. Woohoo! Okay. Okay. The Mini Aceman has a 54.2 kilowatt hour battery, which, if we're going to talk about kilowatt hours like liters in a fuel tank. So it's basically like you have 54.2 liters. I'm going to talk about it that way. You have 54.2 kilowatt hour battery, and it makes 215 horsepower and 330 Newton meters of torque, all going to the front wheels. What does that mean? This thing is a legit hot hatch. 0 to 100, 7.1 seconds. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, and Mini calls this a crossover SUV. I beg to differ. If I were to follow Mini's own philosophies and all that, I'm gonna have to say no. This is a legit hot hatch, electric hot hatch. And you got 4 doors in it. It's a hot hatch. Come on, 0 to 107 seconds. That's crazy. Now I want to talk about these different experiences that you have right here on the inside. Now, every time you select a different experience, you get a different sound, except of course for core is the default setting. So you got green and all that, same thing that I showed you earlier. But we're gonna head over to my favorite, the go-kart mode, because that is where all the power is available to you. I mean, being an electric vehicle, power comes in instantaneously. All the power, all the torque is available for you right there underneath your right foot. Now, one thing about the Mini Aceman is that there really isn't any compromise in this car when it comes to the drive, and it shows with the suspension as well. Right, so being a Mini, this definitely should have good turning radius, which, let's test it out. Oh, all right, well, it's not bad. Well, it's not bad, but it certainly isn't like class leading and all that. I wasn't expecting that much turning radius, around 11.5 meters, while some other Mini cars will reach around the 10 mark. But certainly is okay. Now going back to the suspension characteristics of the MINI Aceman, you got independent suspension all around. That's a given. But it is certainly a firm ride. Firm is saying it nicely, though. Now it definitely shows its supposed hot hatch aspirations, and I really suspect that this is a hot hatch in disguise because of those black plastic claddings. The power delivery is abrupt and not linear at all. It's just right there. And having fun within the speed limit is just crazy, because you don't have to reach triple digits to have fun. That's always been Mini's philosophy when it comes to performance anyway. As long as you get from between 10, 20 to 60, 70, and just like that, you've already won the game. Now, Mini actually quotes this to have at least 407 kilometers worth of range. Now, that is being optimistic. I mean, no other car out there can actually, well, I think, based on my testing, can actually match or even top a particular electric vehicle's quoted range. It has to have particular conditions before you can achieve that. But with the MINI Aceman, I'd say that a realistic range for its battery would be around 350 kilometers for me, as per my testing. So right now we are at 70. When I first reset this, I am currently at 78 kilometers worth of range. I mean, I've already traveled 78 kilometers basically, and then we are currently at 63%. So I'm not going to do the math. It is still within the range of what I think it's going to end up with, around 270. No, the math is not mathing, but anyway, from what I've seen during my driving here, I think I can realistically achieve around 350 kilometers of range, as opposed to the 407 that Mini has actually quoted for this one. So yes, realistically speaking, 350, 330, 350, that ain't not bad, especially for a car like this one. So in kilometers per liter speak, if we're going to talk about it in kilometers per liter, I'd say that's around 6 kilometers per kilowatt hour. Now, if you do need to top up, it has that standard charging port right there, so you can charge this in any mall that you can, and it tops up at around, if you want to fast charge this, it tops up at around 95 kilowatt hours. It's not the fastest, but it can certainly get you from 10% to 80% in just half an hour. And you won't be putting this down to 10% anyway. You should always charge this when you're at home. If you can't, keep this topped up as much as you can. But 10% to 80%, half an hour, it's no problems. Get yourself a cup of coffee, rest, and then you're good to go. Now, one thing that the MINI Aceman has is a good NVH. No. I take that back. Actually, if you don't count the roughness of the ride because of how stiff the suspension is, I want to say sporty the suspension is, I think it's a very quiet ride indeed. So quiet that for each of the drive modes that we have right here, or experiences, they had to add some sort of sound to it. As you can see right here, sa video. But don't worry, you can actually turn that off. There is a setting right here for you to turn off the experiences sound, so you can drive as quietly as possible. So maybe on the highway, maybe on a highway, probably skyway, the smoothest roads that you can find, the suspension is going to ride pretty fine, pretty well. But on the city like this, in perfect roads, it's really rough. It can get a little noisy, especially when going through those potholes. So you got parking sensors all around. You've got a rear backup camera, which looks amazing, by the way, with guidelines and all that. It even has a rear cross traffic alert, as well as a object detection system where you can actually see it in your rear camera, and then it's going to detect that particular object and highlight it for you and make sure that you don't hit that object. You also have a complete suite here, of advanced driver assist systems. You got adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, all that jazz. I mean, when it comes to safety, this has no compromises. I just wish it has a 360-degree camera system is all. Pricing for the MINI Aceman starts at 3,550,000 pesos. Now, if you put it in the same scheme of things as that, you're thinking of this as a hot hatch, not as a family crossover SUV. That pricing is certainly up to par with a lot of cars in the hot hatch segment. Now, one thing that you have to keep in mind though, with owning a Mini, is that you also take in that Mini reputation. You've got to be the fun guy. You got to be the guy who always takes risks, the guy who likes things a little bit different and against the grain. There you have it, folks. It's the 2025 MINI Aceman Electric. The same way that the original Mini Cooper brought fun and excitement to racing and internal combustion engines back in the 50s or 60s, that's what the MINI Aceman Electric is doing. It's bringing back the fun. It's bringing back those customization options that people are looking for instead of just a good old boring electric vehicle. And you'd be hard-pressed to find something as exciting, as youthful, as funky looking as this one right here. But I want to know what you think. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. While you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. This is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. See you guys next time.